Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming to Queens Tech Meetup 10. We're super excited you're all here to join us. We have a great lineup and a great speaker tonight who can share, vast wealth of experience in tech. I'm Jukay Hsu. I'm the founder of Coalition for Queens. We're a nonprofit that's fostering the Queens Tech ecosystem to increase economic opportunity in Queens, which is the world's most diverse community. We run events like this, Queens Tech Meetup, to try to encourage companies from elsewhere and companies here to kind of learn from each other, demo, show what cool stuff's happening in the borough. And we also have other programs like Access Code, which is a tech education program that teaches people how to code from very diverse backgrounds and allow them to have the opportunities to get into tech. First, I want to thank our sponsors tonight who made this possible. Plaxel, they're a original tech company, a plastics pioneer here in Long Island City, and this is actually their venue and space. So, want to thank them. Want to thank Covington and Burling. They're a leading law firm here in New York that represents a lot of tech companies. Tremendously helpful. Also tonight, this event's being sponsored by 3 city council members, Councilmember Paul Vallone, Leroy Comrie, and Karen Clausewitz. So really want to thank them as well for helping support us growing the tech community here. Also, beers. I hope you guys are all enjoying the beers. We have a Single Cup Breweries, Beersmiths, located right here in Western Queens in Astoria. We love what they do. Hope you guys are enjoying the beer. And last, we have our sponsor, SourcePad. And Joe Chin, if he's here. Is Joe here? Well, SourcePad, they're a dev shop here in New York. If you have any kind of development needs, be sure to look up SourcePad. And we couldn't do any of these events or activities without our sponsors, and they really help support us. But it's also everyone here and all the members of other people working on creating tech companies here and entrepreneurs here in Queens that allow our community to grow. Recently, we had our first kind of fundraiser in October, on October 16th at MoMA PS1. It was really our chance to kind of celebrate the growth of tech this past year, the companies that have been very successful, and also recognize volunteers and others that have really contributed. And I'm really happy to see a lot of people here in the audience tonight that was there, and I hope others, if you're interested, to get involved and be more involved in what we're doing and helping grow this community together. We had over 250 attendees. It was awesome. We actually exceeded our original goals. And raised some money to and celebrated the community to support programs like this, Queens Tech Meetup, and our Access Code education program. We really want to build a tech community that's reflective of Queens and diversity here. So we really want to give other people within Queens the opportunity to join the tech industry as well. And we have a short little clip from the fundraiser you guys can check out.
company maybe 6 years ago, every VC conversation started with, so when are you going to move to the Valley?
And when we wanted to build an actual 3D printing factory, we set out to see where we want to be.
Maybe 3 years after that, the VC conversation started moving to, so when are you going to move to Manhattan?
We decided on Long Island City because it's close to New York. There was great real estate.
And now we have investors at our office and they're like, this is an incredible neighborhood that you're part of.
There's a great community of people that help each other to build up a business.
That not only recognizes him for his talents and incredible skill, but also his selfless service and contributions to our community, and he's our volunteer of the year. Thank you very much.
Great, yeah, so hope you joined the little video. If you weren't able to attend, we're gonna have further clips online as well, and you can learn more about what we do. But it's really great to have Songs and Shapeways there. They've really been growing tremendously this past year. Both Songs has been here for 6 years, and Shapeways just opened their 3D printing factory this past year, and others involved as well. So we hope your company, and as you become entrepreneurs and as you grow, that you can contribute to the community, and we can celebrate your success as this grows also. So it was really, really great to see the incredible energy there and see how much this community has grown. And I'm really happy that it's gonna. Hopefully, we can do that, to continue doing that together. And now I want to introduce our speaker. Really honored to have Brian Cohen. He's a fellow Stuyvesant graduate. He's a serial entrepreneur, founded companies, sold them, now is the CEO and co-founder of Launch It. He's also the chairman of New York Angel, which is New York's primary angel investment group, and was the first investor in Pinterest, has tons of investment and startup and entrepreneurial experience. So excited for him to be here tonight and share his experience with us. Will you please give him a warm round of applause?
Let me get started. They told me I've got about 40 or so minutes to do about a 3-hour presentation, so I'm going to run through all of this as fast as I can for you. Okay, why am I here? What's the point of any presenter? The point of a presenter, I'm supposed to teach you something, right? I'm supposed to inform you, something you don't know, but you know everything already, so I'm going to have a hard time telling you anything you haven't learned so far, right? Because the internet tells you everything. The other thing I'm here for is to compel you to do something I'm going to be able to tell you that's going to change your life somewhat, maybe a bit of a behavioral change. And the other thing I'm about is also trying to challenge you, challenge your thinking, and put you in a different place. So I've had the opportunity for the last 40 years of building all of my companies right here in New York. And most importantly, I met my wife about a mile from here. She's a Queens girl, I'm a Brooklyn guy. It's good to be back in the boroughs. All right. Now, I don't know if that means much. I'm just really curious, how many people are actually born in Queens or New York that's from here? Because most of the immigrants are in the Queens area. But Queens is a very cool place, and I don't think it gets enough visibility. And when Jukay told me he was doing all of this, it really made me feel incredibly excited. And I want to make sure, and I know you just did a fundraiser, and I want to write you a $1,000 check to make sure that I commit myself to the work that you're doing here, all right? It's really important. So it's really hard for you to sit back and listen to somebody that you don't know the background of, because you don't really connect. So let me make sure I do that the best I possibly can. So I travel the world giving presentations on two things. One, how to raise money from angel investors. So I'm going to teach you a little bit of that tonight and what goes on inside the mind of angel investors. You generally hear a lot about the input, about the way you raise money. Well, I'm going to give you the best input possible. I'm going to really make it crystal clear about how to raise money, since I, of course, write enormous amounts of checks and invest in a lot of companies. And I certainly have had one opportunity to invest in a guy who I met at NYU at a business plan competition, Ben Silberman, when he brought up the precursor idea to Pinterest, and then when he pivoted to Pinterest. So there's nothing more exciting for an angel investor than being the very first check. But there is. It's believing in someone, and it's all about believing. So I've got 3 copies of my book here tonight, and anyone who asks me the best top 3 questions, because it's not about answers, answers are easy, they're a dime a dozen, good questions, that's what I really want. So what I'm seeing traveling around, and I just got back from a high school business plan competition, is that entrepreneurism is everywhere. A guy can't get a date on a Friday night unless he has a startup. It's no longer an elevator pitch, it's a bedroom pitch. Tell me what you've got, my mom wants to know. She's going to tell me whether or not that's an investable idea. It's really bizarre.
How do you spell entrepreneur?
I didn't spell that. The whole point is he did, right? He's not old enough. I didn't spell it, he did. So, you know, the word, everybody, you know where the word entrepreneurs come from? It comes from France, right? It was only brought over sometime in the mid-'80s. We didn't know what we were. In the first chapter of my book, when I decided I was going to go do something in my life when I was a grad student, I really needed a real mentor. And we tend to use this word mentor, I have a lot of parenthetical points to make, in a sort of a bizarre way. A mentor, I've had one. If you ever have a real mentor in your life, that's really great. But the word mentor as a word guy, the way it's being used these days is kind of, I think, unfortunate. You have advisors. A mentor is somebody who knows your middle name, knows your parents, where they're from, knows what kind of food you like. But now we use that word mentor to make people like me feel good, like you're mentoring these kids. No, I don't believe it. I want to keep that word very strong and very sacrosanct to the word mentor and what it means to be one. So anyway, they're starting young. You're all young. And it's really important that when you're young, learn as much as you can. Are you a wantrepreneur or entrepreneur? So I'm really in a very, very tough place. I meet an enormous amount of companies. I hear 50 pitches a week. I love it. It's an honorable place to be. But I'd say 75% of the companies that come to me are wantrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs. How many people here are entrepreneurs? How many people here are wantrepreneurs? Oh, okay. Good, good. It's really interesting because I think you know the difference. You expect an enormous amount from somebody who's an entrepreneur because that's a real class of responsibility. You've got clarity about your business, you have a sense about where you're going, you know how to figure out your finances, you understand all the issues about raising money. Wantrepreneurs are another class. They're just sort of thinking about the possibilities. They've been struck with this thing that everybody says, follow your passion, which I think is bullshit. It's hurt more entrepreneurs than anybody. Don't follow a passion. That's like it's like a burp. It's like gas. Having passion is a momentary thing. You have passion for something for a moment, and I keep seeing college students all over the country looking at me saying, Brian, I don't know if it's my passion anymore. And it's only been 3 weeks they've been into something. Create a business concept, solve a business problem, build to make money, build to drive success. Passion doesn't do that. I know people who love advertising, they start an ad agency. They know nothing about business. Passion is not what you've been told it is. Find the problem, solve it, build a business around it. That's what's going to drive you. When I ask what drives me, I gotta tell you, just the incredible satisfaction of succeeding. That's what drives me the most. That should drive you. Just the feeling of driving towards some level of success. So I decided after some number of years of doing what I do as an entrepreneur and as a money guy, and by the way, what is an angel? An angel is nothing more. It came from the word in Broadway, on Broadway, where angels used to swoop in and save Broadway shows. But all an angel is just some rich person who wants to throw their money away. In the end, I don't know very many angels that make money. You all think that angels like me make gobs of money. What we have to some extent, or maybe we're part of the lucky sperm club, we've got money from our families or something, but for the most part, they don't. The chances of making money in angel is really, really hard, and I'm going to go through some of the background, so again, so you understand what the mentality is of an angel investor. But I had all of these years of journey, understanding the mentality of working with a lot of these guys and being an entrepreneur myself, and I felt like I wanted to share it. So when I told friends of mine in the Valley, Silicon Valley, that I was writing a book. They said, why? Why? Well, people don't write books anymore. Well, they do. And they write books because it has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. It isn't just a blog. It's available everywhere. It's all over the world. It's being, now it's being translated into Mandarin this week. So it's really been a wonderful opportunity for me to share everything I've learned about being an entrepreneur and being an angel. But a lot of what we do in our business is about spotting key trends. People ask, what do you invest in? Well, I just met a really bright guy over here who went to Stylr, who's doing sensors. I found a really bright guy here who's doing work in sort of channels and apps and figuring out how people aggregate information. I have the greatest job in the world. I get to hear, listen, and sort of be a part of other people's lives. And there's nothing much more exciting that I could do in this time of my life than to do that. It's the most honorable, absolutely beyond anything I can imagine thing to do in my life at this time. So I hope you enjoy the book. It's available everywhere. So I am a serial entrepreneur. In college, I started the first computer publications in the world back in the 70s. Came to New York, started more computer publications. I didn't know what I was doing. My college professor in the first chapter of my book whispered in my ear, he said, I'll give you a secret. Never ever work for somebody that's the closest thing to slavery. I had no idea what he was talking about. Right after I graduated graduate school, I decided I was going to take him up on it, and I started a publication. Up in Boston, it was for the science world along the 128 belt in the Boston area. Again, I knew what I was doing. I had no one to help me, but it worked. It succeeded, and I drove it. And I came down to New York, started more computer publications, and then I started the world's first science and technology PR agency. Grew it to the world's largest agency, fastest growing in the world, handled every major tech company back in the early days of the computer industry and the early first generation of the internet space. And with my wife, really important to note, built that firm. I've been married 31 years, 3 delicious morsels of love, my kids. Why do I even mention that? Why do I even bring up such a personal part of my life? Because unfortunately, what I keep finding is that there are entrepreneurs that think that that's not part of their life. They think there's this over here family and over here is what they do as a business person. I'm here to tell you, you can do it all. You can match it together. And I could also say to the women in this room, it's harder for you. It's really harder for you. So I spend a lot of time over in Israel, and it's worse there. The men don't have this sort of mentality of working collectively with women. But I can tell you that the Kaufman Foundation, all the research shows that the more women involved in C-level positions of your startup guys, the more women involved in C-level positions of a startup will lead to a better outcome for your business. So building a business is not something that you consider doing alone. You could do it with a family around you. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do that. I just felt that I didn't want to have a wife that was doing something else when she came home and told me about it, and I wasn't the least bit interested. I really wanted to have a family business. Now my 3 kids are all running their businesses together. It's a real family business. My son is my partner in a startup called Launch It. It's a really beautiful thing. So I'm a professional angel. The word professional is really an important thing to know. When you're a professional at something, it's really important to think about best practices. It's the things that matter that you want to do the best. Again, as I said, angel investors are just rich people as amateurs. They just want to invest, but they don't really always know why they're investing. They're not always sensitive to thinking about it from a science standpoint, maybe more of an art, because it's really hard to figure out what to invest in, and anybody can do it. But I'm a professional angel investor. I have one interest. That's to make a lot of money. Is that bad? I have conversations about this all the time. If I make money, you make money. And there aren't many companies out there that succeed. What are the percentage chances of a company that actually makes money? And by the way, anybody here, tell me first, how does an angel make money? Come on, interactive. This is Queens. Company what sells? It's called an exit. Did you know that? So when people ask me as an angel, what business am I in? What's my answer? I'm in the exit business. The only business I can make money in is if you exit. Yes, there's this debate about can I actually sit with an entrepreneur and ask them a question about what their plans are for exit when they've just started a company that day. The answer is absolutely yes. So I started a company called Launch.it. It's to disintermediate the wire services, and I plan to exit the company. The first day I announced my company, I called the presidents of the 2 major wire services and I said, I'm coming after you. I'm going to eat your lunch. I'm going to take your customers away, and you're going to have to acquire me. I asked them who their biggest customer was. I got them the next week. I called them back, and they wouldn't tell me who their second biggest customer was. It is strategic to do that, because if you are thinking about an exit, you're actually thinking about solving a customer problem that isn't being solved by a big company, right? So it is a supportive opportunity strategically to actually start a company, to know who you're going to sell that company to. But again, the only way an angel makes money is a liquidity event. Don't even think you're going to have an IPO. What are the chances? What are the chances of somebody actually investing in a Pinterest? Whether you be a venture firm or whether you be an angel, who knows? What's the chances? What's the percentage chance? Anybody know? Come on.
0.037.
Zero. The chances of actually being able to invest in a company that goes to $1 billion, 50,000 companies a year, I'm filled with freaking facts. 50,000 companies a year are invested in. Over 10 years, you know the number, and only 50 companies have become billion-dollar companies. Do the math. You've got a PhD in math over here. The actual percentage opportunity of somebody like me, or anybody for that matter, investing in a company that becomes a billion-dollar company is zero. The number of companies that exit that are actually funded by an angel or a VC is like something like 1.57%. So the chances of success are so bizarrely low. Unfortunately, angels think they can pick. I've never met anybody who actually can. They do it because they think there's an opportunity. It's kind of like the lottery. Oh, and they do it because you're sweet and you're nice, and they kind of think that they need to help you. I'm not about that. I'm about thinking, first, am I going to make money? Am I going to make money for you? Am I going to give up my time, my resources, my advisorship, if I'm lucky, mentorship? And I'm going to help you make a lot of money. Because in the end, that's what makes Queens or New York, Manhattan, any place more successful. What has happened in Silicon Valley is a rainforest. It's just like a rainforest. Money begets money. Young, successful, exited entrepreneurs give back. And if we throw money around, stupid money after stupid ideas, or even smart money after stupid ideas, that's bad. We want smart money after smart ideas. That's the best. But it's more than ideas, and I'll show you in a minute. It's really all about something else. So I'm a VC light, and I've grown the New York Angels to be the largest angel group in the United States. We are the most active. What does that mean? What does it mean if we're the most active angel group in the United States? Tell me. Interactive. This is interactive. This is Queens. Right. We do the most deals. We write the most checks. In the end, it's all about how many checks do we write. Are we actually investing, or are we wasting your time? Don't let anybody waste your time. We write checks all the time. We have an enormous amount of deal flow. That's what makes us so smart. It's because we can see so much, we can question so much, and we can make a big decision, an easier one, by having a talented group of people with the wisdom of crowds to make those decisions. So the New York Angels now is the largest, most successful angel group in the country, and I've taken it even broader. There's 13 other angel groups. I've gotten them all together. I call it GAIN, the Gotham Angel Investors Network, to make it easier for you and build the best practices of all the angels in the New York area, which is really great. And I'm a friend. I hang out, and I no, it's fine, but I get caught up on slides and all this stuff, and everybody seems really focused on what I'm saying. Right? Stay with it if you got it, right? So I live, eat, and breathe New York. The New York City startup community is so wonderful. It's a wonderful place as an accelerator. Look, you're sitting here, I'm teaching, doesn't cost you a thing. People are supporting you, people are loving you. I don't know, accelerators, incubators, I call them all masturbators. They're all just designed to make you feel good for some period of time, unfortunately, to kick you out. But the whole world here in New York City is one big, wonderful accelerator. My angels, all the people who support the New York City startup community, it's incredible. I didn't say New York, Manhattan, I said New York City startup community are incredible people. It's a hugging community. Unlike California, I spent my 20 years in Palo Alto and Cowper. Didn't see you when I was there. But there it's much more alpha dog mentality. Here, come on, give me a hug, group hug. Everybody wants to help everybody. Okay. These are our family. We've made lots of investments, predominantly in the New York metropolitan area. We want to be close to our family. We invest a great deal in business plan competitions. I've invested in the last 5 winners of the NYU business plan competition. We're really into the university environments. That's where I found Ben. That's where he was hanging out. And if you're an addict at it like me, and I was a news guy, being in the business of investing as an angel is kind of like a news guy. They used to say, do you know what news is? Well, if you do news enough, if you're a journalist enough, you develop a nose for it. I've developed a nose for making an opportunity really the one that is going to be the one that's exitable. We already told you that. So why is it so important to be friends with me? Because the statistics are, you're not going to get your money anywhere else. You're going to get your first money from friends, families, and fools. That's the people, you know, that you're related to. But the only other real money of the people that are going to challenge you, that are going to think of you as a real first-time business, comes from people like me, just rich people who have money. And, sorry? Can't hear you. No, don't get me started on crowdfunding. Well, let me start there since you brought it up. I've got so much to cover, and I got 42 more slides to get through. But crowdfunding, democratization, right? That's what it's all about, democratization. But it's still coming from angels, by the way. The only place you can get money from today are people who are angel investors, SEC accredited, right? Since you brought it up, who have $1 million in assets and $200,000 a year in income today. When the next part of the crowdfunding shoe drops, it's going to allow anybody to lose their money. I mean, anyone to invest, and up to $10,000 depending upon your income. Think about this. This is all true. It could change. Stats change. The venture capital industry, according to the Kaufman Foundation, over the last 10 years is underwater. 2% of venture capital firms in the country are responsible for 95% of all the returns. And if you take out the Facebooks and the Twitters, as Gates says, success is its worst teacher, because you all think, oh, I'm going to get the next, Twitter, et cetera. Everybody's underwater in the venture capital business. It's extraordinary. So we all think these people from the venture capital world, any venture capitalists here? No? Okay, we've got to get some VCs in Queens. You all think, right, you all think that they have this sort of knowledge base, and they're really smart, but not smart enough to figure out how to make money as a venture capitalist. So you come down, the stream to angel investors. I got to tell you, I don't know very many angel investors who are making money. And then you get the crowdfunding, and you get the people who don't touch, feel, know anything about the companies other than what they read online, and you can answer the question for yourself. There'll be a bloodbath in the street, but people will feel better because, why should that just be an open opportunity to people who have money, right? And I kind of agree with that, but I think the best crowdfunding platforms are the ones that associate themselves with angel groups, with best practices, best planning, best due diligence and analysis. But I could talk forever about that, crowdfunding. But 90% of all the money just comes from, go on, give me a hug, angels, right? That's it. So we support the community through education, through government support, working with NYEDC. It isn't just about money. So really important. When you think you're raising money, you're really raising investors. It's easy to say, hard for you to do. And what that really means is you want to find the right investors to support you. So let me run through the rest here. So this is where we fit in. I think this is, yeah, there we go. So so first money is here, seed, funding gap. This is where angels fit, and then later VC funds. The extraordinary difference between VCs and angels. What you need to know about this is that angels exit early. VCs can't. Their models are broken. They need billion-dollar exits. They can't do it. So if you're planning on growing a very big business, that's great. That'll go towards a VC, but it's got to at least produce a billion-dollar exit for them. Okay, who here is going to have a billion-dollar exit? Okay, drug time. Okay, I'm going to take what you're taking. All right. Do you know how hard that is? All right. So when you're raising money, as I said before, you start off with friends and family. They're the ones who don't really care what you're doing. They just want you out of the house. So that's fine and that's okay. But once you go up the line here to raising money, who here has actually raised money or is looking to raise money? You raised? Yeah. Right, that's right, any clip, that's right. It's really important that when you consider, and I could talk specifically about how to raise money for an angel investor at this point, you have to think about the entire lifeline of how you raise money to know how to raise it right. You just don't raise money now. You raise money, did I hit the wrong button? No. You raise money for a journey, because it's more than likely 20% of your equity gets bought every time you raise money, and your numbers and valuation have to be really correct so that the people who you raise money from later aren't going to dilute all the people who cared and loved you. So one of my chapters in my book is Love the Ones Who Love You First. The people who gave you money first, make sure your valuation is in line, because if it's not, you raise your money at too high a valuation and you don't make your milestones, And I've never seen anybody make their milestones, ever. Ever. I haven't. Those people who you love, who gave you the money first, are going to dilute you. They're going to get diluted terribly. As I run in front of the screen all the time, sorry. So here's the biggest difference between VCs and angels. Does anybody tell me what that means? What does this chart tell you? Go on, interactive. This is Queens. We speak. What is the chart telling you?
VC investment means you have a company for a long, long time before you exit.
That's right, and there are less exits. So I'm not against VCs. What's the function of a venture firm? What do they do for a company in its journey? What is their money used for? Scaling. Brilliant. Absolutely. So friends and family get you out of the house, get you a prototype. Angels get you up to the point of traction. VCs get you to the point of scaling. That's a huge difference. The difference there, of course, is also that an angel is okay with an exit of 1 to 5 times, 10, 30 times, that's okay. But VCs can't do that. They have other people's money. So when an angel spends money, it's their money out of their own pocket. They spend it. It's their check. But when you talk about VCs, it's other people's money, and their model is very specific. There are micro VCs. There's certainly different types of super angels in there as well. But predominantly, the angel world is designed with billion-dollar exits in mind. Now, also, as you wait to try and get out here in the time that it takes for an exit, you get more competition, technology changes, bigger decisions for larger sums of money, also for an exit. So it's just really problematic. It turns out that the sweet spot really for exiting is anywhere between 2 and 5 years. The average is generally about 7 to 8 years. So angel investors, average age of an angel investor, I know I don't look it, is 56. I look a lot younger, right? Right. I wish. All right. So I have most of my angels, the New York Angels, we average really about 56. We're investing for our grandkids. But that's what we love doing. And somebody just joined today who's 78. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's gonna try and figure it out. All right. So how many serious angel investors? Just a little math time, right? There are about 30,000 serious angel investors in the United States. If you took all those angel investors and you talked about the average number of dollars that are invested in any particular investment, by the way, you're not deals. You're investment. We do deals. Somebody refers to you as a deal. It's kind of rude. Oh, you're a good deal. Don't you hate that, right? You're just a deal. No, you're an investment. It's really important. It's a nice nomenclature that I think is an important distinction. So there's only about 1,500 serious deals that actually take place in the United States that are angel investing. The process, simple. It's not hard to understand. You write an application, go to the New York Angel site, put it in. After the application goes online, we do an online screening. By the way, the online product that we use worldwide is used, and there's a lot of different types of product, but the primary one is called GUST, G-U-S-T, and it asks you for all of your pitch deck. No one reads business plans. I even said that yesterday at a lecture I gave at NYU to the MBA class. Nobody reads business plans. But it's okay to do them because it helps you think about what you have to do and how you're going to do it. Right? Creates a nice little financial projection. No one ever looks at those past 3 years anyway. Then we'll do some screening online. We'll do a discovery where we'll meet with you. We'll do a presentation. Then you notice we'll do due diligence. I call it DO diligence. A lot of due diligence, the average number of angel investments that an angel investor makes, how many? Right, 1. Bizarre. The only way an angel could possibly make money is by having a portfolio of at least 10 to 12 investments. But the average angel investor only makes 1 investment a year. Kind of weird. And they do it because most of the time it's a Hollywood angel, never did it before. They go home, I met this really great guy. He's got this really cool product. I know what it does, but it's cool. So it's a nice evening conversation over dinner. And then a term sheet gets put together. That's a larger conversation. You should know everything about term sheets because it's all available to you. And not knowing about term sheets is a real problem if you're going in to actually raise money. And then you get funded. We generally want to fund the company for a 12-month period of time so you don't have to keep going out looking for money. Okay. We invested in about 2.3% of the companies that we see. The statistic, by the way, among venture firms is 1 out of 400. And again, remember, don't even waste your time going to see a venture firm if your interest is not to grow $1 billion, or not just your interest, dreams are always possible. So it's entrepreneurs living on hopium. So you could always think about growing it to $1 billion, but the reality isn't always true. All right? So, okay, so I'm going to give you those statistics. I have all those, and I'm going to bore you to tears. So you can see where money does come from, but angels fit across the board, because even friends and family can be thought of as angels. It's just at the time that they're actually putting it in. And angel groups go up here. Angel groups, there's about 450 of them in the United States. The problem with angel groups is, to a great extent, and this is a problem, but let me share with you, this is insight. A lot of people confuse angel investing with economic development. So I travel the country and they show me all of these buildings filled with companies. And the government takes our money and says, we've got to fill that building. We've got to put companies in there. And they have a big ribbon and it's a ceremony. And I walk in to visit and I say, I'm sorry, I wouldn't invest in any of these companies. Not one. But they succeeded because they filled it with companies. And they're working and they're earnest and they've got big charts up on the wall. But not one of them is an investable company. And it's really sad, but that's economic development. And those companies are just going to keep doing this. Some may sell a little bit, some may not, but they're not going to raise money. There are new methods of raising money that will evolve. That's like local vesting for the communities, the kinds of companies that actually support a community. Great book, you should read it, called Local Vesting by a friend of mine. And I think the communities are going to start supporting it with a different kind of return on their investment. But angel investors are about not doing that. It's not about lifestyle businesses. Okay. So what's happened? We've had all of these angel investors out there, Hollywood investors making investments, and they haven't gotten returns. They thought they would. We're going through a period now, this is tougher for you, called, I see statistically, angel exhaustion. They've made lots of investments, but they've got no exits. And their wives, 18% of angels are women, predominantly the guys are making these investments. They come to the wives. They said, I took another chunk of money and I put it into this company. And the wife yells at them and says it's a bad idea. And nothing happens, and they were right. So a lot of the investors, angel investors today, are kind of like saying, why did I do this? There's better ways to throw your money away. If you're really smart and you're really a professional, you increase your chances. But unfortunately, a lot of angels made bad decisions on just bad investments. Now, that sounds sort of kind of like a lot of you in this room shouldn't get funded. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. What's the next best answer to yes when you're out raising money? No. Right. The more people you see, the more people you have a chance of getting money from. Time is not on your side. When you do meet with an angel, or anyone for that matter, get to the point where you say, well, is it yes or no? As soon as you get to no, thank you. Thank them. My God. VCs, angels rarely say no. They're afraid to. They don't know, maybe something good's going to happen, and they won't say, oh, I just kind of like fell asleep that day. Well, it's sad. Get to know. Here's the biggest thing, and I want you all to say this with me. When I make a decision to invest in a company, and I teach this to angel investors, the one thing I look for is whether or not you're in control. If you're not in control of the money-raising process, do I think you're going to be in control of your ability to run a business? Would you? No, of course not. So if you're not completely up to speed on the fact that you are in control, say it, I'm in control. Right. Don't be intimidated by the fact that I'm rich. Always make people laugh when you say that. Isn't that interesting? I'm rich. You all want to be rich, I guess. I don't know if that's good anymore. But I've built business and I've grown. Well, it's okay, and it's not intimidating. I'm more intimidated talking to you that I'm going to give you a good impression. I'm going to teach you something tonight. I'm scared that in the end, I'm going to be someone who may not have reached you. Well, I'm just as intimidated to that extent, probably more so than you think you are with me. So you're in control. And if I grew up today in the internet space where everything was online and I can learn it, it's kind of a sad commentary if you're not in control. If the only issue is nervousness, well, just stand in front of a friggin' mirror or go to a whole host of these conferences where you can give pitches from morning till night so that you'll be completely up to speed and totally practiced. But you are in control. So don't you dare walk into a presentation to raise money until you're totally in control of knowing exactly how to do it. And of course, you can read my book, go online, get it from iTunes, Barnes & Noble. It's the best place to learn. All right. Time. I don't understand it. I still remember being at Stylr. I feel like I was just there last week. How fast time goes by. So I spent 31 years of marriage. My daughter got engaged last week. All three of my kids have to start a company before they're 26. I'm partners with my son. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. I tell all my other friends, families, never leave money to your children. I have a book on my desk, Die Broke. My kids have seen it for my entire life. But what I say to the parents is I won't leave them any money, but I will invest in them. And they go, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I like that idea. Yeah, I would do that too, right? Time moves by so fast. So while you're thinking about what you're planning to do, just think about being smart and being fast. Not any one of them independently. You can't just be smart and you just can't be fast. You've got to be smart fast. So that's really the critical component, I think, of my success. Make decisions fast, be as fast and as smart as you possibly can, but take advantage of every moment you've got. It just flies by, and I'm not trying to get deep or melodramatic, or maybe a little bit, but it is bizarre how fast it goes by. Because if you fail fast, you know that line, fail fast? You have another chance to succeed, right? There's no book, there's all these books about how to build a company, but there's no book on how to stop a company, how to end it. And generally speaking, you have a bad idea, but you keep doing it, even in spite of the fact you know it sucks. So I spend a lot of time in Israel. In Israel, it's great. They've got chutzpah. You know what chutzpah is? You're from Queens. You can't help not knowing what chutzpah is. But they all are in the army. And they all hang out with each other, and they're like terrorizing each other about their ideas. And they tell each other it's a bad idea. They literally yell at each other. Why would anybody invest in such a stupid idea? Unfortunately, we live in this nice world. So when I was talking to the CEO Club at Columbia University a couple of months ago, 500 students, among the brightest, the elitist at Columbia, all of which I had the opportunity of asking one very important question. Are we, my people, you, et cetera, are we too nice to entrepreneurs? Long silence in the room. The answer was, yeah, we are. So this is the part that I'm challenging you. This is the part I think is the most important. So when I travel around giving talks on these things, not so fast as I'm doing it tonight to get through all these next 37 slides, I ask you each to stop being nice. Be professional. Challenge each other. Say, that's a bad idea. Have you really thought it through? Rigor seems to have been escaped somewhere. Where'd rigor go? What happened to it? People like me in our business, we used to be direct, and then you tweet, Brian wasn't nice to me. And somehow that would get translated, we get a bad reputation. I'm not here to be nice about your idea and your business. I'm here to be hard-nosed and direct. That's what you want. You want somebody to come at you and say, that's a bad idea, right? And you want somebody to challenge you, to sharpen your thinking. You don't want somebody to be, oh, I'm so proud of you. It seems like it's okay. You want somebody to challenge you the best that they can. So please change that attitude. And I'm trying to make sure that happens. So I'm starting this devil's advocate group in New York City. I've got the best and the brightest who are going to be charged with like a Coliseum atmosphere that if you have a company and you want to walk in, we will rip you to pieces. And we will make you, if we can, sweat. But we're going to ask you every tough question we possibly can. Really important. What? Oh my God. All right, so let me go through this. Median angel rounds, raising $600,000. Median valuations of $2.5 million for seed rounds, sector gains, angel groups. Dumb money versus smart money, smart crowdfunding. What do we look for? We look for a competitive advantage. Hard to find, not always easy to recognize. This is probably the most important. So in my book, I talk about the fact 75% of the time, the companies that we invest in are not doing what we invested them in. They've changed. What is it called? And iterating, right? I'm really interested as a marketing guy to know that you're listening to the conversation that's taking place among your customers. If you're not listening, you're not iterating. Iteration is the new innovation. You're always fine-tuning. You're always getting smarter. You're always knowing what the customer's thinking before they're thinking it. You're a behavioralist. You want to know why they're doing what they're doing. Are you changing what they're doing? All right, quick example. What business really is Facebook in and YouTube in? They're in the container business. Simplify, 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 simplify. Do you get what I mean? YouTube and Facebook are in the container business. You put your shit in it, and they just give you the tools to move it around. Even Pinterest is the same, right? So I've got a company called Launch It. It's a newsroom for the world. It's totally free for you to put all your stories up. Go to launch.it, and it's the same. You put all your news in, you socialize it from one particular location. I give you tools to do it. Simplify your businesses. Make it so incredibly clear that you understand what it is the customer does. Don't over-dramatize. Handling challenges is part of that. I want to know that you can manage change, not being myopic. A lot of people say focus, focus, focus. So when I first started my first company, I had the chance to meet Packard from Hewlett-Packard in Arby's in 1982. I asked him, I said, tell me what I need to learn about starting a company. And he said, listen, most young companies don't die of starvation, they die of indigestion, right? That's what he said. And I thought that was kind of neat. But it doesn't mean you're myopic. It doesn't mean that you're so totally focused on what you're doing, you don't see all the things that relate to your business. I want to know when you come in to see me that you can understand all the things going on in and around your customer. Had a company come in, they were starting a spice box company, like Birchbox. They're going to send you spices. Crazy idea. Month by month, then you're going to somehow learn how to use these spices. So in one of my business plan competitions as a judge, I asked the question, what are the top 10 spices of the world? You're in the spice business, right? Couldn't answer it. But I expected him to know that question because the one thing that you do in your business beyond anything else is you're curious. You want to know everything about your business. So it's a turn on. So if I can challenge you and the person can't handle the questions that I ask, forget it. You're not going to get funded. You've got to know as much about your business so that you can handle all the challenges that come. Is it the right rider? 99% of the time, it's always about the rider on the horse and the teammanship. Not just the team, right? Oh, is it the right team? No. Can the team work together? So I want to understand the dynamics of the people who are on the team. Getting me doing this really fast. It's not about the idea. Got a great idea. I'll take a weak idea with brilliant execution anytime over a brilliant idea with poor execution. Do you get that? Is that resonating? I have to know that you can execute. Great ideas without execution don't go anywhere. Does that make sense? Right? You have to prove you can execute. Not easy to do. 7 to 8 years to get out of a deal. Here's what's really interesting. For me to make money, really make money out of 10 companies on a statistics basis, 5 are going to die, 2 are going to get me 2 to 5, 1's going to get me a 10. When I balance all that out, just to make money, to break even, I need a 30x return. It's just numbers to make money. So I'm sorry. If I'm going to give you money, I'm going to look for 30 times. You're too. 30 times my investment. It's the only way I'm going to make money. So I apologize. I'm teaching angel investors to do that. Because if they don't work to make money intelligently, the rainforest isn't going to produce. It's just not. So let's go into some questions quickly. Best questions, you're going to get a book. Yes?
The more the companies fail because they fail to iterate, or fail to focus.
Well, that's a really interesting question. There are 3 reasons. It's on my next slide. So, because I've actually supported so many companies over the years. Syndication, ego, greed, and fear. That's the biggest reason they fail. Well, it starts here. It starts with the behaviors of the people who are running the business. Somebody has to be the smartest person in the room. They make the decisions that are bad. Oh, my competitor is doing something, I better respond to it. Fear. Oh, then greed. I want to make more money, so I keep money in my pocket and not in the company. Yeah, there's iteration issues. They're not listening to the customer. They're not watching the marketplace. Something happens and they're not responsible to knowing how to react to that change. That's the biggest reason. Next question, come on. Yeah.
Do you think the exit paradigm is going to change when you bring deal sourcing online with accredited investors, angel sides?
You still need exits, right?
But do you think the timeline might change because professional investors get pushed out maybe a year or 2 because you have a new liquidity source?
But they're not. At least in the current models, the most they put in is $10,000. And that mucks up the whole cap table. All these people don't know what's going on, right? Because they don't really follow it, and the company has no obligation to tell them. It's a nightmare waiting to happen. It'll sort of figure out, but it's one giant petri dish, right? I can tell you it sounds horrible now. It's painful. I can give you all the reasons in the world why it won't work. We all get surprised. I hope sort of kind of it does, but I just don't see it because I know the legal administration hassles are so incredibly painful. The VCs, if the opportunity comes for them to scale, and they look at a list of all these investors, they're like peeing their pants. They don't know what to do with all these companies, all these names of these people. They have to be informed, and letters have to be written, and legal documents have to be signed. It's a nightmare. Next question. Yeah.
I want the book. Can I have the book now?
That's an interesting question. Yes?
If you know so many companies will fail, why did you do it?
Because I'm a professional and I'm really smart at it, and because I made a lot of money already and I'm really good at it.
Why would any other angel do it?
Because they feel that they are good at it too, right? And that they can pick and choose, but they can't. And there's this notion also about being nice, right? It's their responsibility to throw their money away. Yeah.
You mentioned execution is where people most of the time fail. So how do you define what makes executions good execution?
It's hard because there's so little we go on, so I have to look at the person, I have to know their background, I have to spend time with them, breakfast, lunch, and dinner generally before I'll invest in somebody. It's that nose thing. And I could see who's around them, how smart they are, what they've done before. It's that thing that you try and sort of figure out by putting together all these little pieces. And they're startups, you really don't know. But you can't tell serial entrepreneurs easily getting money. They've been there, they've been down the road, fine. That's why we always ask that question. Team, good smart team, who they've already got some traction with. You can see how they built the business on bootstrap, depending on how much history they've got. So there's little to go on. Little to go on. Yeah?
More question, last question.
No. Come on.
When you have entrepreneurs who want to do a pivot to something similar, how do you recommend they do that when they have, or they deal with their existing investment?
I don't recommend it, they do it, right? The best investment I have in them is when they call me. So I don't muck with them, I don't tell them what to do. They only call. The worst thing in the world, angel investors also thought that they had this new lease on life. They could put money into a company and thus they could help you run it. That's bullshit. They end up mucking it up. Yeah.
You said that angel investors have a 1.5 conversion rate. Do you feel that next year you might have 1.6?
Could be.
I mean, I'm just saying it should seem like...
It's a cycle. It's frothy now. It's all about exits. We watch the statistics, but it's still very little.
You have a framework and you're teaching people how to be better angels. Wouldn't that be...
Yes. Yeah.
Is there a trend that you're seeing going up?
No.
No. That was my question.
No, it's not. Somebody has to acquire you, so you got to build a company. If you're gonna catch a mouse, you got to look like a piece of cheese, right? Yeah, go.
How many angels beat the S&P 500?
No one. As an asset class overall, angel investments return 22.6% IRR. So it sounds fantastic, but as individual angels, sucks. Yes.
Have you ever invested and found that bill you invested in the first time?
Say it again?
Have you ever invested a second time and found that bill you invested in the first time?
No. Next.
Other than the things you covered, like, is there anything else that would dictate a bad idea?
Anything that would be a bad idea? How do you answer that question? I don't know. I mean, I know a bad idea when I hear it, I think. Next. It's not a good question. All right. Yeah.
He's not getting the book.
$2.5 million valuation. As good as the product is, how do I justify to keep that? I'm not worth $2.5 million that I developed.
How do you justify a $2.5 million valuation? Well, a company with a pre-revenue obviously is really challenging to decide what it's actually worth, right? Somebody says, hey, my valuation is $2.5 million. And what that actually means is that you could literally take what you've got and find somebody to buy it for $2.5 million, right? It's worth $2.5 million. I'm going to find, you're not going to give me money, I'm just going to sell it for $2.5 million, right? Certainly have never seen that happen before, right? But you've got to establish a valuation. You have to. So the marketplace does that based upon some bizarre notions of sometimes $250,000 for the team, $250,000 for the idea, $250,000 for the execution. It's some number pre-revenue. As you saw, the average now is 2.5 that gets funded. It's some number generally in the seed level between $2 and $5 million. Rare in California, could be higher. Higher? All right, seriously, the last question. Who has the best one?
When a Pinterest, when is the exit going to happen?
Next question.
How did you pick your very first investment?
Well, it's really kind of neat. So I'm wearing men's underwear made by Tommy John's. He reinvented the men's fly, which used to go this way. He makes it go this way. It's called a quick draw fly. So he's reinvented the technology of the fly. So that was one of my first investments. But I started angel investing 40 years ago by giving time and getting stock from my clients, in lieu of services. Comicsology here in New York, I graduated Juilliard as an opera singer. He wanted to revolutionize, hate that word by the way, never use it unless you actually mean it, the digital comic industry. And I was a comic guy. So.
How did you make the decision when you didn't know what you were doing?
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know. I get better at it. All right, I can't talk anymore. There's so much more to share. I hope this was worthwhile.
Thank you so much, Brian. That was so incredible talk. And I know there are a lot more questions, and hopefully, we have some great demos coming up, but hopefully you can answer some questions afterwards and as well. So thank you very much. Can we please give Brian Cohen another warm round of applause? All right, now on to our awesome company demos. If people want to take a bathroom real quick. But and we have Aaron Cohen, I want to introduce, who's the MC and helped put together all these events. Can you guys please welcome Aaron up to the stage?
Hello, everybody. My name is Aaron Cohen. I will not take it personally if you go take a little break right now. I know Brian went a little long, for which we greatly love him for. He is a great presenter, and I hope most of you will stick around for our demos, because we have 6 awesome companies about to show off the products they've built for you to use. Hopefully Matthias here will get his laptop up and running in a second. Hey, source found. That's what we like to see. So just a little bit about me. My name's Aaron Cohen. I've been involved in the New York City tech community for about 6 years now. I've been co-founder of 2 startups, early employee of a 3rd. I worked this past summer at the Dream It Ventures Summer Accelerator here in New York, shepherding 15 new startups through the seed stage process. One of them is here tonight, Eitan from Stylr, be able to show off what he worked on over the summer. Great, great, great product. But first off is Matthias from Bloglovin, a BetaWorks company. He's going to show you the best way to find and follow your favorite blogs.
Hey. Thanks, guys. So my name is Matthias Swenson. I'm CEO and co-founder of Bloglovin. And Bloglovin is the place to discover inspiring stories. They told me not to do any keynote, so I'll just go straight to the product. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Well, a third of it. I hope it's good enough. Yeah. Excuse me? Oh, yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah. So Bloglovin is partner RSS reader. Like, you can choose which blogs you want to follow and see all their updates in one place. And then the stuff that's most popular on the site gets popped up here in the popular page, where you can see the most popular stories like fashion, beauty, home, food. And this week we just hit 10 million unique visitors per month. Thanks. And we'll probably hit 11 million this week as well. But I thought, since there's so many aspiring entrepreneurs and people starting out, I thought I'd share sort of like how we got started in 2 minutes. So our first idea was actually, oh cool, yeah, it's too technical, I'm Swedish. Yeah, so our first idea was actually a bar review site. And it was my brother's genius idea, and he said if we had the biggest bar review site, we would get free beer. And with a strong mission like that, it was fairly easy to find a team that wanted to get free beer. So we set up an office right after high school in my parents' garage, our international HQ, and we quite quickly realized it was a bad idea. And we started our second idea, or second project, which was clad.se, which means dressed, to make it easier for people to share fashion inspiration, because fashion blogging was booming in Sweden at the time. We were doing that for about 5 months, and then we decided to bring on board a few fashion bloggers to show it to them. And their feedback was that it sucks. Whenever we had some spare time, they would all jump on their laptops, open up 50 bookmarks, and go through all their favorite blogs. And we asked them, why don't you use an RSS reader to do that? And they didn't know what RSS was, because it sounds like an STD. So we just decided, we're like, okay, let's start our third idea, and just make it super simple for people to follow their favorite blogs in one place. And we started a blog called, which was the Swedish name, which means keep track of blogs. But when we decided to launch in the US, people got confused. They were like, what would I call blogs? So we had to change to Bloglovin. And I guess today. So today we have 10 million users, soon 11. We're 14 people in Stockholm and New York. We're building the future of content consumption. And we're looking for awesome people to recruit. Drink beer, I guess. Cool, thanks.
Thank you, Matthias.
Thanks.
All right. So, in case you're not familiar, we have a kind of faster, rapid-paced demo format now. Started this at the last meetup. So we're going to ricochet right into the next demo here. This is EndlessTV. A friend of mine, Nat, here. I've known him for a little while. He's got a very cool video discovery app for mobile, iOS and Android. I'm happy to report as a Nexus 5 owner. While he's getting together, I just have a quick question for everybody here. Who's here for the first time? Who's never been to a Queen's Tech meetup before? Amazing, that's what I thought. Okay, we love it that our community is expanding here. It's our mission to showcase technology made in Queens. Some of the stuff you'll see tonight actually was made in Queens tonight. But also just to spotlight Long Island City and Western Queens as a great place to build a tech community. I can share with you tonight that our meetup group now has more than 1,600 members, 1,628, and I guess a lot of you are responsible for that. So please give yourself a round of applause for building the tech community here. All right, it looks like Nat is ready to go, and I will hand it off to him.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Out of the light. Very happy to be here tonight at the Queens Tech Meetup. Go Queens! All right, awesome. As Aaron mentioned, my name is Nathaniel. I'm one of the founders of EndlessTV. You can think of us kind of like Pandora, but for mobile video. And as you can see on the screen, I'm about to give a demonstration, but before I jump into it, I want to just kind of set a little context about how we see the world. First, mobile is eating the world. What I mean by that is television viewing is down, listening to radio is down, surfing the web on your computer and on your laptop is down. The only thing that is up is consumption of media on tablets and iPhones. And video is a big part of that. Well, actually, no. In fact, only 1% of all videos being viewed is on mobile. Now, how do we address this? Well, let me introduce you to EndlessTV. So EndlessTV provides video in applications. So they're all available in the App Store. We have many related to many different topics. So each one's basically a different channel. Here we got news, celebrity, fashion, sports. We're going to jump into news here and open it up. We're curating content from a lot of great sources, folks like Wall Street Journal, BBC, Associated Press. We're trying to remove all of the steps to watch video. You click play, you get right into a video. This video is actually curated based on the engagement of the community. The more community members that watch and listen to a video, the more likely it's going to be prioritized at the beginning. Moving from one video to the next, you simply swipe. You know, no lag, no latency in that process. Moving from one video to the next, very simple. Anytime you want to pause, you simply tap on the screen. The video is paused. You get a little information about the video. You simply click and you can watch again. Let's say you don't like Newsy. That's the first channel we have here. You swipe up. In this case, we're seeing BBC. Now, the content again here is all based on proprietary algorithm identifying what's the most engaging video available in this content source. Now, in addition, you can also share on this page. We're about to move over to Android and to iPhone. And as Aaron mentioned, we are available on Android. The great thing about Android is you can get a lot more stuff out there. You can see all the great different applications we have, not just news, tech, celebrity, but also things like food or actually we're about to launch Star Wars, we're about to launch, I think, Sex, we're about to launch a bunch of other ones that are pretty exciting. In fact, we've been working all summer getting access to great content. We so far have access to about 2,000 sources of content. I mentioned some of them earlier. Additionally, you might know folks like TechCrunch or Mashable, or you might know folks like Sports Illustrated or soon ESPN. All those folks are going to be in our platform. And that's kind of how we see the future of video. Getting video on your mobile devices, both iPhones and tablets, now. Now, let me just kind of pause for a second and identify how you guys might think about getting involved here. Now, as a consumer, of course, you might open your phone, you might open it up and download one of these applications. As I mentioned, available both on your iPhone as well as any Android device. As a fellow New Yorker to other New Yorkers, I'd request that all the support you can provide us would be great. 5-star reviews are very much appreciated. And if you don't believe it deserves a 5-star review, please come see me afterwards. I'd like to convince you otherwise, or alternatively, hear your feedback for why it doesn't. In addition, if you work for any company that has great content, we are always looking for great new content. So feel free to come find me afterwards, and let's talk about how to get your content some mobile distribution, as well as monetization on mobile devices. And lastly, if you have any questions about starting a company or anything like that where I can help, please let me know. This is my 3rd company, and I'm always eager to talk to fellow entrepreneurs. Thanks, that's it for now.
Thank you, Nat. So that's EndlessTV. It's available now in the Apple App Store, as well as the Google Play Store. Please check it out. 5-star reviews, greatly appreciated. All right, let me help Robert here get his video up and running. Robert, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Hi, my name is Robert Clark. I'm one of the founders of MyBell. MyBell is an electronic bicycle bell. I'm a mechanical engineer by degree. Our team consists of 3 people. There's myself, our business guy, and our electrical engineer. And as soon as the video comes up, I'll tell you a little bit more. With sound. All right, well.
If people are listening to headphones or not paying attention. MyBell is a fun and easy way to keep everyone safe. It's a digital bell that plays the sound of your choice. Levels upwards of 96 decibels. MyBell is 10 times louder than your average bell. Just loud enough to really get someone's attention. MyBell is easy to use. Just plug it into your computer, drag your sound file into the MyBell drive, and you're ready to roll. It has an elastic band, which can attach to most bicycles. It goes wherever you go, so you don't have to worry about theft. MyBell also has LEDs. Riders can select their pulse patterns, so they can choose how they look in the dark. MyBell combines 2 important safety tools, which will reduce clutter on your handlebars. The MyBell team has over 7 years of design for manufacturing experience and over 6 years of electrical engineering experience. We were finalists in New York's Next Top Makers competition and Engadget's Inventors competition. We launched this Kickstarter campaign because we need your help to make MyBell a reality. Over the last few months, we've gone through many prototypes as we get MyBell ready for you. We've made MyBell.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole spiel, but so the idea behind this is you can take whatever sound file you want, you drag and drop it onto the device. It connects over USB, it charges wireless, charges over USB, and it'll be with you the entire day. It's detachable from your bike, so you don't have to worry about bike theft, and it reclaims some of that really, really important real estate on the handlebar. I don't know how many people here are bikers. By law, you're mandated to have both lights and a bell on your handlebar. This has both, so you kind of get some space back. Yeah, bell is a law, so is the light. White lights in the front, sorry. These are red just because they're what we had laying around. And the middle one blinks as a battery indicator, so I'll actually turn this off right now.
Tell us where you designed it.
Actually, we design and manufacture actually in IDCNY, which is right here in Long Island City, actually. we were in a X-Top Makers competition, and we got some free studio space. So we've been bootstrapping this kind of the entire process. But we're going on a Kickstarter campaign on January 6th. That's going to coincide with, we won, as part of the competition, we won a free table at CES in Vegas. So to coincide with that entire week of pandemonium, we're going to be launching our Kickstarter. So please support us. You can go to our website, mybell.co, and that's everything.
Thank you very much, Robert. All right. Now, if I could get the first two presenters. Robert, stay. We're going to do questions now. First two presenters, Matthias and Nat. We're going to do questions now for the first three demos before we jump into the next three demos. I'm trying to get everyone at least one or two questions. So who has a question for Nat from EndlessTV? Right here in the front.
Was there reasoning for separating them into specific vertices instead of having it in one specific?
Yeah, great question. She was asking, why do we do individual applications for specific topics? Our goal is to remove all of the barriers between you and a video. So the standard is right now you're going to open an application, you search for something, you look through a large list, and you select. And so what we're trying to do is, there's 3 steps there. We're trying to remove it so it's actually just one, which is open the application. So the only way to do that is to have it so it's related to a specific category. Then the picking and playing of the video is done by the algorithm I was describing earlier.
Okay, do another question for EndlessTV?
Yeah. It's more of a request. Did you do what Stumble Upon started and then failed on? Because at the very beginning they were really good. And so I'm just like saying I love the way that they mashed up my interest with other people's interests, and I could watch video after video after video. And so my only request is do what they did, and they somehow failed. And so like I stopped watching them, and like if you can continue with that trend of creating coherent content, that would be amazing.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. What we're trying to do is something similar to that. We're trying to identify which videos are engaging and also recent. And so but it's obviously related to a topic, and so it's fascinating to kind of see what actually pops up.
Thank you very much. By the way, that question was, can you copy Stumble Upon? I think that might have been the question. All right, do we have any more questions? How about a question for Matthias from Bloglovin? Anybody? Jolly?
How happy were you when you found that Google Reader was going to be cut?
How happy were you when Google shut down Reader?
I was really happy, and then I got really stressed because it was like, there were a few of us competing for a bunch of users, but it turned out really well.
Did you see a traffic spike after that?
Yeah, we tried to get all the girls, and then left the guys to Philly.
We have another question for Matthias.
How long did you guys work on the other ideas, the first two?
Too long. No, the first idea we spent about 6-7 months on, the bar community. We spent every weekend last year in high school. And then the second idea we spent about 5 months on. And then this third we spent about 6 years on. So yeah, it's about, yeah.
Very good, very good. How about some questions for Robert from MyBell? Any bike enthusiasts here? Right there.
So how loud is it?
96 decibels.
And what we heard just now was?
That one was probably about 90. So what we're planning on doing is, when we launch a Kickstarter campaign, is a library of curated sounds that are optimized for our op amp. That way, you'll have, say, a dozen different sounds that you can use, but the plan is to be able to use any audio file of your choice.
Just a quick, follow-up question. How loud, typically, is New York street traffic?
70 decibels.
Awesome.
And it can go as high, with construction, it can go as high as 80. So this, and to give you another little bit of information, car horns are legally required to be 100 minimum to 110. So this is almost on that range.
Brian, are you listening? He knows his stats. Very good. How about another question for Robert?
I have one.
Well, Charlie, you already had a question. Let's go over here. Yeah, Bjorn.
Any chance we'll be able to drag and drop from our phones in the future?
that is part of our technological development. Right now we're focusing on what we call our minimal viable product, but we have the capability to be able to do that. But communicating with a wireless device right now requires a certain amount of funding that we don't have.
A Bluetooth development stack's like 20 grand.
Yes.
Really any more questions for anybody? Wildcard, you in the back in the red?
For the MyBell, so people can put whatever they want, whatever sound file
Yes.
on there. What happens if someone drops like a 3-minute MP3 to play the whole thing?
No. No, sorry. We're going to limit the clip length to 15 seconds, 20 seconds. We're playing with the clip length, kind of dictates how long your battery life is going to be.
And sort of a follow-on, if someone hears like a 15-second clip of the biker's favorite Beatles song, are they going to understand that that means the biker's coming?
Well, this is our general response. It's not a one-sound-fits-all world, right? So the mechanical bell might be the sound that some people notice here in New York, but in Shanghai or in Chicago or in San Francisco, it might be a different sound, right? You want the sound to be something that's unique to yourself, hence it's customizable, but you also want to be able to grab someone's attention. So if you choose to put a Beatles song, that's your choice because you think it's going to grab someone's attention. But that split second between them noticing you and not could mean the difference in an accident, and that's what we're trying to prevent for bicycle safety.
Okay, great. One more question, right here.
For Endless, is there a maximum length for a video that you can watch on it? Could I watch a movie? Would that come up?
So the question is there a maximum length? There is, I think there's probably no maximum length from a technical point of view, but we are getting the most success with videos that are between 3 and 6 minutes. But there are certainly videos that are longer, and some users who spend 10 plus hours a day watching videos. So.
Is there EndlessTV humor?
There is something, we call it endless comedy right now. The question is always whether or not we've got great content. So we've got, I would say, good content in that vertical. We're looking for better content, but it's one of the most requested. So just one part of that actually is we're trying to integrate YouTube as well, which has a potential risk because one of the benefits for our content providers is they want a brand safe environment, and YouTube generally kind of breaks that because it's not very brand safe. But we're trying to explore using YouTube on a limited basis.
All right.
Thank you very much, everybody. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay. Now, we're not done. You might think that's the end. We actually have 3 more demos for you, so we're going to do that whole process again. Questions at the end one more time. Up next, we have Quan here. He's the founder of Poncho, another BetaWorks company. I've been a customer, a client, a subscriber of Poncho for about 2-3 weeks now, and I can personally report that it's amazing. And as I told him the other day, he influenced my underwear decision when he told me how warm it was going to be that day, how freakishly warm it would be. I was going to wear long underwear, but I didn't, thanks to Poncho. So here's Quan.
Hi everyone, my name is Cohen. I'm here to talk about Poncho. I don't know if you guys can see the link. You can go to tryponcho.com to check it out. So Poncho is a simple weather service with a personality. And the mission for Poncho is very, very simple. Poncho wants to simplify your daily routines. Every day, if you live in New York, every day when you wake up in the morning, there are a few things you do. First, you check the weather. Is it going to be rain? Should I bring an umbrella? Is it going to be cold? Should I bring a scarf? So the first thing. Second, if you take subway, you want to know if my trains are running. If you unfortunately live in Williamsburg, you always want to know is L train still running. If you bike to work, you want to know whether it's going to rain or is it going to be really windy. In summer, is it going to be really humid? Am I really going to get sweat? So the second thing, your commute. Third, if you happen to have allergy, you want to know, is the allergy high today? Should I take a pill before I leave? And if you live in New York and happen to have a car, you know there's such a thing called alternate side parkings. When you wake up in the morning, you want to know, do I need to switch side when I park my car? So there are a few things you do in the morning, and Poncho wants to simplify it for you. So let's take a look. Let's do it. So if you go to tryponcho.com first, before Poncho help you simplify your daily routine, tell something about Poncho, about you. So first, put in your name. Give me a zip code. Right now it's New York only. Cool. So, I don't know why. Yeah, so tell Poncho what time you wake up. Yeah. Okay. Do you have pets to go out? So the reason we asked that was because if you have pets to go out, you probably wake up early in the morning or walk your pet in the late evening or right after work. So we will look at the weather for you, make sure you get covered. So do you have pollen allergies? So if you do, we're gonna give you a 3-day forecast. Do you park your car on the street? And how do you commute? Let's say you pick train. We right now support subway, Long Island Railway Road, and Metro North. You can click, choose the train you take. And then you can also opt in to get a message before you leave work. You will get the weather in the evening and tomorrow, and about the train you take. I just want to do this. Oh, okay. So okay, next. And then you can opt in to get a forecast or not based on time you leave work. That's pretty much the last step. It's available in text message or email, whatever you like. You don't have to have an iPhone or Android phone to use the service. That's it. So let's take a look at message. Could you switch to the next tab? Oh, so sorry, this is the setting page. Basically, you can go there, change all your settings. The next tab is, okay, so that's what the email kind of looks like. Could you like control minus to zoom out? You have to click, you have to, small. So that's what the email looks like. It actually looks better if you get it. So that's pretty much about Poncho. And you can also get Poncho from text message. Our weather forecast is a little bit funny. Could you zoom in to see the web? So this is the weather message for today. This afternoon before you leave work. We don't just want to throw you numbers. We want to give you some fun facts, plus the most important thing you need to know. If it's windy, we're going to tell you. If it's rain, we're going to tell you. If it's not windy, no rain, we won't bother you to read these things. So there's one small thing I want to point out from Poncho is there's one wise guy told me that if you want to be cool on the internet, you got to love one thing, and that thing is called a GIF. We love GIF. So if you click the second tab here, yes. So can you zoom up? So sorry, the ratio is a little bit messed up. Okay, so every day we pick a GIF based on today's weather. If you refresh the page, we load another GIF. Like this is today's weather, it's sunny. We'll refresh it. Another GIF. So we have random GIF loads based on the weather pattern. If you click next tab, that's on a raining day. We load different GIFs based on the weather. Could you click next one? That's a windy day. So that's GIF. We try to be cool. So that's about Poncho. Thank you. The best way to experience Poncho is go to tryponcho.com, check it out. And we're doing small promotion here right now. If you sign up Poncho and refer 5 friends, we'll give you a pretty cool yellow Poncho umbrella. So, thank you.
Thank you, Quan. All right, our next demo is going to be Strut by Thick Policy. Michael, where are you? There you are. Okay. I'll let you plug that in with this. There you go. All right, so up next we actually have a mobile game we're going to show off to you. This is a very cool game. It's rather addictive. I wish I could play it more, but unfortunately I don't own an iPhone. And I would look kind of silly walking around with my iPad everywhere I go. Or at least the way you need to with this app. So I'll let Michael take it away from here and tell you all about Strut.
So I'm going to talk about our company, Thick Policy, and more specifically our latest app called Strut. So even though my brother Dave and I that started the company both live and work in Manhattan right now, we are both originally from Queens, so we have that. And I thought I'd whip out my Forest Hills t-shirt shirt just to add some credibility to that. So we have a couple apps in the store. What I'm going to talk about tonight is Strut.
So the idea came about sometime last year. My brother and I were walking around in the West Village, one of those areas where it's not numbered streets and it's all confusing. And we were like, hey, why don't we go that way? And he's like, no, we've been that way before. And I said, no, we haven't. So we thought to ourselves, wouldn't it be really cool if you could tell for sure everywhere you've been? So that's what Strut is. Basically, the concept is that the whole world is covered in tiles. The object of the game is to go everywhere, explore as much as you can, and open up tiles. It's pretty simple. One of the cool things about it is that it keeps you honest. It's not like you can check in somewhere even though you're not there. It actually tracks you in real time and proves that you are everywhere that you open up on your map. So this is a live demo of the app. This is my map. You can tell I'm a pretty obsessive, avid user of it since we launched back in March. I've actually been using it for a little bit while longer while we were doing development of it. So you can see my map of New York. Pretty much been opened up every single tile possible in Manhattan, except for these reservoir tiles in Central Park that will haunt me forever. Thinking of maybe renting a helicopter to get those too, because that's just, anyway. So it's really cool. One of the fun things is that you can go and see everywhere that you've been over time. So it's a list of all the states you've been in. So for example, I find it kind of cool and fun to look back at my trip to Tokyo when I was really obsessively using it back in April. And you can see it's pretty cool. It kind of encourages you to go out more. So I'll find myself a lot of times, instead of just running on the treadmill in the gym, I go out for a run. So you can see I've opened up a vast majority of the city of Tokyo just from being there for about a week. And then you can see it also works not only in moving around, but also works on trains, cars, planes. So you can see, you can track, for example, this trip we took out to Osaka and Kyoto on the bullet train. So you can see your whole path, and you can see everywhere that you've been all the way on the way there. And some other cool things are that you can go back in history to see all your tiles. So I managed to open up one tile today, which was pretty exciting. It's rare that I open up anymore in New York, but I got one here. But it's pretty cool that you can go back in time and you can see it on any day. So for example, if I go back to some other date, it'll zoom over to where I was that day, and it'll show all the tiles I opened that day. So here's a trip I took to Philly, mostly just to get some tiles. So it's pretty fun. So I make my wife travel different routes, different highways, just to open up tiles, because it's kind of turning life into a game, which I find fun. We have a pretty avid user base. Right now we have about 11,500 users all across the country. Right now what I'm showing you is the score screen. So it shows some cool stats like most tiles you've ever opened in one day, water tiles, which is another metric we track. It shows all the countries you've been in, all the states, as well as all the cities. And we also have some fun unlockable medals, kind of adds more to the game element of it. So we have a bunch of different ones, kind of fun little references and other stuff like that. So you earn stuff for just traveling to different cities, completing different objectives. So you get them all whenever you travel all around the world. And another cool feature is that you can view all open tiles for a city. So it is pretty cool to see how widespread it is. So if I look, for example, at the map of just New York itself, you can see that all people in New York have opened up over 15,000 tiles already. And the ones in red are the ones that I've opened myself. So I've contributed a decent amount to that. Pretty much all the Manhattan tiles I've opened. But you can see that it's still loading, all 15,000 of them. They're all over the place, Staten Island, Brooklyn. I need to do more in the Bronx, it looks like. But it's all over the place. Still loading. I think there's about 15,000 now, so it's growing all the time. And then another cool feature is this page for places. So it shows the entire percentage of the whole world that's been opened up. So right now, we've opened up 0.108% of the world, which is about 14 million tiles that have been opened up. And we've had 11,500 people or so travel in 161 different countries. So it's pretty cool. And you can see all the top 10 people in every country, state, city, which is on this global leaderboard, which is kind of fun because you can track your progress. Of course, when it started out, I was #1. That lasted for about a month. I'm all the way down to 70th now because I don't get to fly anymore. It looks like Captain Robusto is some kind of pilot in Europe who's driving everybody insane and just killing everybody. We've also had a lot of fun stories, fun anecdotes from it. So this guy at #2, Elon Lee, He's actually the lead designer of the Xbox One, and he contacted us. He was very into the app. He's a real avid user. We go back and forth on it with stuff you'd like to see, cool stuff like that. And he shared some interesting stories and pictures with us. So one of them is here. He showed us this picture. Some of the things he does to get tiles. He's actually #1 in LA with an insane number of tiles there. If you look at his map, it's pretty ridiculous. He has pretty much the entire city opened up. And then another funny story. So this is him and his friend. I don't know if you're aware of that guy, Where the Hell is Matt, the guy that dances around the world on YouTube. He's also a very avid user. I think he's down to #14 now. He hasn't been traveling as much lately. But this is one of the photos he sent that him and Elon took on a flight they had. So an interesting story is they figured out the way to maximize their tiles on a flight, which is to do this thing where they rig their phones up in the shade. And one of the funny stories we got from Elon was that one day he gave me a call and he said, so the FBI came by my house the other day. Apparently after this flight, since it kind of looks very suspicious, someone reported him to the FAA after they got off the flight for suspicious activity. So luckily nothing came of it because he clearly explained to them he was just playing a silly game and he wasn't having any bomb rigged up or anything like that on the flight. So we get all kinds of requests from users all over the world. A lot of users in Netherlands and Germany actually that are very avid users of it. So check it out. It's free in the App Store. There's a bunch of other options too. You can find it's connected to Facebook, share to Twitter, stuff like that. So check it out. It's in the App Store, and you can go to strutapp.com for more info.
Awesome, 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 awesome. It makes me almost want to go buy an iPhone. Almost. Emphasis on almost. All right, our last demo is a friend of mine, Eitan. We had the privilege of working together all summer at the Dream It Accelerator here in Manhattan. He's the CEO of a very cool company called Stylr, and he's about to show you why you want to stop buying things on Zappos.
Hi everybody, my name is Eitan and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Stylr. So Stylr is a mobile shopping application. And before I get too much into the application, I'll go over a use case. So the winter is coming. That's the popular saying nowadays. And I don't feel ready for winter. I mean, I didn't do my winter shopping, and I need to get a pair of brown boots just to replace what I have. And what are my options? Like, what would the process really look like? I could just spend it like a weekend, go from store to store, try to find what I'm looking for, but I don't really enjoy that process. I don't have the time. I could also like just shop online, but I want to be able to see what I'm buying before I buy it. So what else? Like, what else is a possibility? Like, is there like any online service that could help me to find what I'm looking for? You know, like in a local store. If you try to search on Google for like Soho brown boots, have you guys ever tried that? I mean, the results are going to be like terrible, like nothing relevant, and we're trying to fill in that gap with Stylr. We're trying to help you find what you're looking for in local stores using your iPhone. So when you like launch Stylr, all the stuff that we show you is items, the products that are available in the vicinity in local stores. So we give you like a feed of products that you can actually go and buy in the store. So you could specify. At this point, it's basically giving me items that I can buy based on my current location. But if you want to specify your the neighborhood that you're interested in shopping, let's say Midtown in this particular case, so we show you a feed of products that are coming from the stores that are in Midtown. And to go with the use case that I mentioned, let's say brown boots, I could specify what I'm looking for. Let's say I could specify the category. I'm looking for shoes. I'm looking for boots. So we show you like all the options available in Midtown. You could further filter it down by color, by price, by size, percentage sale, let's say. In this case, let's just go with like my use case, 10.5, and I'm looking for brown boots. So here you see all the different options that are available for me in the local stores. And let's say that, I mean, I'll just like pick one example. I'll just go for this one. It's kind of pricey, but let's just. Anyway, let's go with this. I can see if it's available in the store, so 10.5. I'm going for that. Okay, so it shows me that it's got like limited availability, which means that it's in stock, but I better hurry up because they don't have too many available. So at this point, what is left for me is that I can get the directions to the store, call the store, or even better, I can actually reserve it. So when I do reserve, I'm not going to do it now, but what happens is that Stylr basically like gets in touch with the store on behalf of you and gets the item put on hold. So by the time you get to the store, it's already waiting there for you, and all that is left for you is just to go there, try it out, and if you like it, you buy it. So the goal is like the ultimate goal is basically bringing the convenience of shopping online to where the majority of the shopping activity happens, which is actually offline. Like 90% of apparel is purchased in brick and mortar stores. So we're trying to bring that convenience. And in terms of where we are, it's an app that is like live in the App Store. We did a soft launch in April, and we've been like getting good coverage in the press, and we got featured in the App Store, and we're growing our user base. And most importantly, like among our user base, we're already able to show that there's people using the app and going to the store. So what we see, for example, a user using the app in Brooklyn and just doing discovery, finding a product that they like, checking out where it's available, let's say Macy's in Midtown. And we see within a couple of hours the user appearing in front of the Macy's store, inside the Macy's store possibly, checking out the exact same product in the app, indicating that like we're driving foot traffic to the store, which is like one of our main goals. And also like the reservation capability, which we rolled out a few months ago, is like picking up steam, and more users are using reservation. And the cool thing is that the day after reservation, similar to the way that it happens on Uber, we get back in touch with the user saying, how did the reservation go? Did you like end up purchasing the item? And we're getting like pretty positive results. So it's just like a very convenient way of finding an element, finding a product, and just being able to like easily locate it in a store. So that's what it's about. Again, we're in the App Store, and feel free to check it out. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to have quick questions for the last 3 demoers, and then we got to get out of here before the fire marshal comes out on us. No, we're going to wrap it up. We do one question each? One question each? Yeah, we're fine? Okay, we'll do some questions real quick. Question right there, sir.
Question for Poncho.
For Poncho.
Your app seems, or your thing seems really designed for an Android widget. Do you have plans for that?
Do you have plans for an Android widget?
Not yet, actually. Right now, it's email and text message works quite well. Basically, people set up time to receive the messages, so when you wake up, it's right there. I haven't thought about that, because we don't even have an iPhone app yet.
Right here.
Question for Poncho. How do you monetize?
That's an excellent question. I don't know, actually. But I think I actually don't have any business plan. All I have is a business hypothesis. My hypothesis is whether space is a very interesting space for advertising. When you sign up, ask you some questions. So if I know you walk your dog and you take E-train, and MTA come to me and they say, hey, I have this dog food company wants to put advertising on my train. Which line should I put? It's a little creepy example, but you get the idea.
Any questions for Stylr or Strut?
For Strut, you're going to kill my batteries. Don't kill my battery.
Sorry, but we will. Yeah, I mean, it's like most other navigation-based apps that use the GPS. That's one of the things it has to use the high accuracy in order to keep it honest and to make sure that you get the correct tiles. Otherwise, I might have opened up those reservoir tiles. So we're going to look at, we started looking at the motion processor chip in the new iPhone 5S. It's challenging though, because one of the use cases is on a flight or in a car where your phone isn't really moving, so it's hard to detect if it's going to actually pick up those tiles. So.
Awesome. Any more questions right here, sir?
Yeah, for Strut, do you distinguish between the walking versus in a car versus in an airplane?
No, right now we don't. One of the things that we've had most requested, and one of the things I want to do is to kind of distinguish between that, kind of have a different type of scoring system to kind of award the people that explore on foot more, right, as opposed to the people that just fly everywhere, right? It would be cool to have a different kind of metric like that.
And also, the sizes of the tiles are what?
It's about 0.01 miles by 0.01 miles. It shows.
So you see on the map when I saw he was reaching over a.
Yeah, you can see you see yourself on the map. It's the same location on.
See the edge of the tile is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Any questions for Stylr? Right here.
I was wondering like how you put the products in the app. Like do you do like individual? Like does the store have a website with an API? They will just download the product. It seems like if you do individual, it's like intense
Sure. I mean, the API would be lovely. I mean, it's a mix of a lot of different sources. Like some cases, the retailers have on their websites, you can just locate an item in a store. So in that case, it's just like crawling. Sometimes it's just like a direct relationship with the retailer. It could be like having a relationship with a point of sale vendor. There's no like, I mean, it's definitely not manual. It's just like a lot of different sources.
I can personally attest that this man is a crawling master. On one of the first days of the Dream It program this summer, he actually, on his own accord, decided to teach everyone in the program how to run a basic crawling script. And I don't know, you remember that? You remember doing that? Okay, right. So he knows how to crawl. If you have a database that needs scrape, this is the man to talk to. Yeah. Anyway, any more questions for Stylr? Stylr question?
It's extraordinarily difficult to establish and maintain a marketplace if you're dealing with two sides. How are you dealing with aggregating content from the marketplace side as well as the buyer side?
I mean, definitely true. What we realize is that there's enough publicly available data for us to get started, to have the supply side there, and then use that to generate like enough demand, and then afterwards go and basically finish up, like keep adding. Like it's going to be iterative, but it's not that you get like a deadlock. You basically start with the supply and you continue afterwards.
Awesome. Any more questions? Jolly.
Strut and Stylr. Android?
Android?
Hopefully. I mean, we want it, but we'll get there.
Same. You in the back?
Does it learn? Does it learn your style?
Yeah, I mean, we start off with like an onboarding process that actually like, tries to get as much information from you as possible, and over time, with your actions, it learns. It could be a lot better, but we're getting there. It's definitely personalized at this point.
Needs unicorn.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Any more questions for anybody? Wildcard questions. Right there.
I don't know. I'm just wondering, what is the revenue model behind any of these applications?
For any of them. Okay.
It's a forbidden question.
For anyone. In a word, business model?
We're bringing supply and demand together, and I think we're basically driving foot traffic into stores, so it could be anywhere from advertising to lead generation.
But the question is, like, what is the revenue model? Is this a subscription model?
No, advertising and lead generation. It's the supply, the retailer space, so it's...
So they have to actually purchase a...
It's on a per action basis. So if there's a transaction that is closed inside the application, or it's going to be based on an action that is taken on advertising.
Okay.
Any more questions?
My answer is I don't know, actually.
Monetization?
Nothing yet. We kind of just started this to have fun with it, watching if we get a lot of user base growing, but we haven't really come up with any concrete plans yet.
Neither is Foursquare, so you can't blame him. Any more questions for anybody? All right. Well, I think that does it.
All right. One real quick thing. I know we had our sponsor, SourcePad, and you can welcome up real quick from our sponsor, SourcePad. 1 minute.
Super quick. Hey, I'm Sam Pickett. I'm founder of SourcePad and their COO, excuse me, someday. And don't tell Joe I said that. And we basically build web apps and mobile apps for startups like you. We're in the outsourcing space. Joe and I, between us, have started 4 companies, raised $20 million and had 2 exits. But we had really bad experiences outsourcing, and so we created this company a number of years ago. We use agile development, we use video, we do Ruby on Rails, we do Android, we do iPhone. We kind of do everything, and our clients have been on, they've won awards at TechCrunch Disrupt. 3 have been featured on the Today Show, and 2 are Y Combinator companies. So we work with a lot of different pretty good startups at very early stages to later in the stage. So if you have a web app or anything, come and talk to me. Thanks, keeping it quick.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Please be in touch. Comments, questions, suggestions for the next meetup. If you'd like to volunteer, there's a link on the meetup page where you can volunteer at a future meetup. If you have news about your company or yourself that you'd like to share with the Queen's Tech meetup community, there's also a link for that. We're happy to spam you all with your community news. And other than that...
I have a question.
Question from Jolly.
Will you have a meetup in December or not?
Are we going to have a meetup in December?
We may have a holiday party, but to be continued, to be announced. But yeah, and thank you all again to all the presenters and demoers and everyone for coming. Can you just give all the companies one big round of applause? And I know there's the announcement, but you guys are welcome to hang out for. I believe there's still some beer left, and chill and talk. And so yeah, thank you very much, and thank you to Jolly as well for always videotaping and supporting, and to all our volunteers, Darren, Serena, Dion. All right, well, thank you all, and hope you guys enjoy, and see you next time. Thanks a lot.